Hey guys, welcome back or welcome to my channel. My name is Ndinawe. You're welcome if you're a new subscriber, and to all my returning subscribers, thank you so much for coming back. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. This is my first video of 2025. I'm wishing you guys all the best. It's going to be my first video of the year, so I'm wishing you guys all the best. Yeah, just all the best for 2025. I think that's all I can say at this point. Yes. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys some of my experiences staying here in Portugal for a little bit over a year. I have been here since 2023. Yeah, I moved here late 2023, so I've been here for quite a bit, and I'm here to share my experiences with you guys. This may be also a video on the things that you should know before you move to Portugal. However, I'll just be sharing my experiences. I don't know what exactly I'm going to title this video, but I'll just share with you guys some of the things that I think you should know, or some of the things that I have experienced. Please bear in mind that every single thing I'm going to be saying in this video is based off my personal experience. If you have experienced something totally different, please feel free to leave a comment in the comment section down below. And with that being said, let's get straight in the video. So I moved to Portugal in 2023, late 2023. That's when I did make the big move. I have been posting a lot of videos of myself. Well, not a lot. I have posted a couple of videos of myself in Lisbon, and I remember a subscriber asked me, "Hey girl, Ndinawe, I thought you were in the Netherlands. Like, what happened? Where are you? Are you staying in Portugal? Are you visiting Portugal?" Okay, she didn't say this. She just asked me. She's like, "I thought you were in Netherlands." And she's not the first person to ask me. I also got another question from somebody else asking me if I had moved. And guys, I did move. I did make the big move, and I'm happy to share my experiences with you guys so far. Portugal has been amazing. It has definitely been an amazing place. I am a very positive person. I'm very optimistic. I look at things in a very positive light. Okay, so that's the reason I'm starting on that positive note. Portugal has been amazing. I've had a lot of ups and downs. It's been hard adjusting to the place. However, it has been an amazing country so far. So the first thing that I want to speak about is this being a black person in Portugal. I believe this is one of the first things that you always have to look at before you move to a country where there aren't predominantly black people in there. I can tell you for sure that in Portugal you feel at home. If you're a person of color, you're a black person specifically, you will feel at home because the people here are generally very welcoming, and you will meet people that look like you in most places, and you will be okay. All right. The question about racism, is there racism here in Portugal? I think this exists in all parts of the world. However, to the extent that it exists, I think this one is a bit like, you know, I do not speak Portuguese, by the way. So with things like that, to be honest, if I meet a mean person, I just take it the person just has a bad day, or I don't know, the person is just mean themselves. But for the most part, I don't get weird stares, neither do I. Yes, the weird stares. I don't get the weird stares. Actually, come to think of it, I've actually never really gotten a weird stare at all. I know sometimes very older people may give you the weird stare, especially if you stay in a place where there are a lot of older people. However, I mean, I think that's very normal. I feel like even black old women or men would also, you know, like look at you a little bit somehow if you're a person who is not black, right? Especially if you go to villages or places where there isn't so much exposure, where there aren't a lot of people who are not like the indigenous people. So yeah, Portugal has been amazing. Being a black person here in Portugal has definitely not been something that I'm uncomfortable with. And yeah. The second point I would like to talk about is the cost of living. The cost of living is one of the most discussed topics when it comes to Portugal as a place to visit or a place to relocate. Or a place to relocate to. A lot of people talk about, oh, Portugal is affordable, Portugal this, Portugal that, Portugal this. And I'm here to tell you guys that yes, indeed, it is true. Portugal is relatively cheaper compared to other Western countries. But that's because the minimum wage in the country is lesser compared to some, you know, first world countries. So for the people that are coming in, it only makes sense for things to be cheaper here because wages here are a bit lower compared to other countries. So things here are relatively cheaper. However, that doesn't make it so cheap for the people that live here, because at the end of the day, they earn, or rather we earn in the we earn Portuguese income, and the Portuguese income is what you have to spend from. If you do have a job where you're able to work remotely and work outside of the country, or at least get a good job here, a very high paying job, you will be fine because things are relatively cheaper. The food is cheaper. However, there's a problem. There's a major problem with regards to accommodation, especially in the big cities like Lisbon and Porto. Specifically Lisbon, at the moment, there's a high rise in demand and shortage of supply, so you can only imagine how expensive accommodation is. If you're going to be planning to get an apartment or a place to stay in Lisbon, and you're looking for, let's say, a 2-bedroom apartment, at least save 1,300 or 1,000 minimum for something that is decent. And no, actually 1,000 is probably even less, to be honest. So an average of 1,000, starting from there and going upwards for a decent place. And remember that all this depends on the area. It depends on whether bills are included. It depends on whether the apartment is an old building. It depends, you know, so many different things which are determining factors of what is going to, you know, affect the cost of the apartment. However, accommodation is, you know, it's quite expensive in Lisbon at the moment. If you'd like to compare prices of accommodation here in Portugal, I would highly recommend that you use Idealista, because then you'll be able to specifically look at the places where you intend to stay. You can be able to like map out the area, or at least, you know, just type in which specific area you'd like to stay in, and then you'll be able to see the prices of the accommodation in that area. You'll be able to see what is like the surrounding places and, you know, all that stuff. Also, you can search for apartments on Facebook Marketplace. However, I would highly advise you to be very careful. There are a lot of scammers on there. Don't give money to someone who you haven't yet signed a contract with. If you don't know, if you don't go to the place, see the apartment and get the keys, just don't do it. Just don't give money. Don't be too excited, because there's so many scammers online, so you have to be very careful. But that's not to say there aren't real people online. There are real people advertising their houses on Facebook Marketplace, in different Facebook groups. But just a word of caution, guys, be very careful. All right, just try and be very careful. So the third point that I'm going to talk about are the cultural differences. So with this specific point, guys, I want to talk about the punctuality. Before we go to punctuality, let me talk about the laid-back culture in this country. So here in Portugal, things take time. They love to take their time, okay? I feel like I don't know who you can meet to push them to do stuff, but they do take their time. Compared to the Netherlands, where I was before I came here, where things are like sharp, let's do everything, let's get everything done. Here they do take a lot of time. You have to go to the bank for this appointment, then they'll call you again to go and sign, then they'll call you again to collect this. Like, they do take their time. So just be ready to have your patience, because I feel like Portugal would definitely test your patience, you guys. It will test your patience. They are very laid back when it comes to certain things. When it comes to like hospital appointments, for instance, I had an appointment at the hospital back when I just came to Portugal. I had an appointment, and my date to see a specialist was scheduled for a year later. So on a Monday morning, there was so much traffic. I got there late, and my doctor told me, Ndinawe, I will see you right now, but only to tell you to come back 2 months later. So yeah, with things like hospital, they really expect you to be punctual. But with most other things, people here are quite laid back, and yeah, they do take their time. So just be ready to also be patient, because I know some people come from cities or countries that are bustling very fast. They're, you know, quick. Here you take your time, you know, just chill, relax. Everything is gonna be done, but they will take their time. All right. As you may know, Portugal is a Portuguese-speaking country. The main language of communication here is Portuguese. So the default language that someone is going to use when they speak to you is Portuguese. Is it a difficult language to learn? It depends on your approach. It depends on how quick you're able to pick up languages. But one thing I would highly recommend is for you to just learn the basic phrases or the basic words to just keep you going, at least when you arrive. Because one thing that I have experienced is that people are more receptive or more warm when you try All right. So first of all, for you to properly integrate into a community where people speak a different language, is that you need to learn the language of the locals. If you're unable to just, show some interest, say obrigada, just say those little things that would just make people understand. Because most of the times when I enter taxis, I'll literally say, good night, good morning, good afternoon, stuff like that. And just from how I'm pronouncing, I don't want to say that here. Yeah, so just from how I'm pronouncing stuff, some drivers would probably just switch to English, or they would ask me if I speak French, because those are like the major languages people would ask you if you speak. They're like, oh, do you speak French or do you speak English, right? So yeah, I would highly recommend that you learn a phrase or two. A lot of people still do speak English here in Portugal, but obviously the main language is Portuguese, and this is why I decided to chip that in here. You can still survive with only English, you can. But for you to be fully integrated, depending on how long you decide to stay here, it is something that you should put at the back of your mind, all right? The fourth point is the transportation system, especially in the big cities. So the capital city of Lisbon is Lisbon. So the capital city of Portugal is Lisbon, and we also have other big cities in Portugal. I'll specifically talk about Lisbon because I know this is the place where a lot of people arrive when they come. Lisbon has a great transportation system, although they do have a lot of strikes. They have metros, they have buses, they have ferries, they have trams, they have scooters, they have taxis, they have different taxi companies. They basically have everything that you're going to find in a big city, you will find it in Lisbon. And the cost of transportation is fair, to be honest. Apparently they do not charge people that are below the age of 23. I don't know the details about that, but for a transportation card, you pay 40 euros per month, and this takes you around the city of Lisbon. Any single where you want to go within the city or the province of Lisbon. I'm not quite sure. I'm gonna correct that if that's not true. But yeah, so it takes you around Lisbon, and you can use anything. You can use the tram, whatever you want to use. 40 euros covers for everything. That is very affordable. I was recently speaking to a friend of mine who told me that in the Netherlands currently they are paying about 120 or so for a transportation card. That is very much expensive compared to how much we're paying here. Like it's so much more expensive. The transportation system here is great. It could be better, obviously. However, I think it's great for the amount that we pay. But please stop the strikes. There are so many strikes. You should expect to have so many strikes. And sometimes the buses don't always come on time, things like that. But I think they do have a working transportation system. So you'll be able to find your way around with the public transportation. So the next point is the weather, all right? Everybody talks about the weather in Portugal. Well, not everyone, but a lot of people speak about the weather in Portugal and how beautiful the weather is here in the country. And I'm here to tell you guys that indeed they do have a beautiful weather. They really do have a beautiful weather. I'll just insert some clips right now of a few days ago when I went out and it was bright and sunny. It's winter right now. It is meant to be winter, but it was bright and sunny. They do have their days, not hot. It was, like spring. Yeah, it was looking like spring. So they do have their days when it's pretty cold in the morning, especially, and in the evening. They do have days when it gets to like 8 degrees and 5 degrees sometimes. But to be honest, it's not every day. Most of the times it's within 14 degrees, 15 degrees, 10 degrees. That's the weather that you should expect in winter on most days. So they do have great weather, and it starts getting hot in January, February, March, April, May. Somewhere in May, you're already seeing the sun and everyone is outside. So you have more days of sunlight compared to some countries where it's gloomy all year round. No one is lying when they're saying that the weather is great. They do have great weather, although it gets extremely hot during summer. Summer can get very, very hot. So just get your sunscreen ready because it gets hot during summer. Otherwise, they do have great weather. The last thing that I want to talk about is the healthcare in Portugal. So the healthcare in Portugal, they do have a universal healthcare. So healthcare is free, but the good part is they do have, I don't know if that's a good part, I don't know, but they also have private clinics. Waiting time in public hospitals is long. all right, it is very long. Like I told you guys, I had an appointment with a specialist and it took me over a year for me to get an appointment. It does take long. I had a friend who the wife had an issue. She stayed in the ER for a very long time. So this is something that you have to look at. Maybe you can consider private practice, though more expensive. Apparently it's better and faster. But I would also suggest that you explore the public hospital option, because then you get access to free healthcare. Your insurance covers for that, so you get good healthcare for free, basically. I don't know if you can talk about Portugal without actually speaking about the safety of the country. So Portugal is relatively safe compared to so many other countries. It is ranked the 4th or 5th safest country in the world, and to be fair, I believe it is, especially for a black person. It is. However, that's not to say that crime doesn't exist, because there's no country where crime doesn't exist. Crime definitely does exist, so you have to your eyes have to be looking, but you don't have to worry so much, because yeah, it's okay. The place is pretty fine. Like, you can walk at night, you can walk at 2 a.m. and you won't have so much to be worried about. But that doesn't mean that you have to be walking around at 2 a.m. You get my point? Like, it doesn't mean this is the time that you have to be getting out. You still have to take precaution, you still have to be careful. But yeah, it's relatively a safe place. So if you're a black person and you want to move to Portugal with safety, I think it's fine. All right. This also depends on the area that you're staying in. As with most countries, it depends on the area that you're staying in, and yeah, it just depends on a lot of things. But generally, okay, it's a safe place. Petty crimes like pickpocketing, yes, that one you have to be careful. Yeah, you have to be very careful. Hold your phone tight. For me, one thing that I know is holding my phone tight, I keep it high, because there's no country in this world where you're going to go to and no one is going to say, well, I don't know, maybe they are. Maybe they are. Maybe Dubai. Dubai is not a country, right? Yeah, but yeah, maybe, I don't know, honestly, I don't know. Maybe there's some places where you can go to and you just, leave your zips open and your phone, just hanging somewhere. You leave it on a chair, you go into a shop and come out. I don't know. But yeah. So the next point that I would like to talk about is the job market. Are there jobs in Portugal? I believe this is something that a lot of people would want to know, because people relocate for different purposes. Some people relocate, a lot of people do relocate to Portugal just to retire and buy houses. Others come here to start up businesses. Some come here as students, different reasons. And then there's so many other people who relocate for, they do the whole economic migration because they're coming here to see for a better life. So are you going to find a job in Portugal? Yes, you will. Is it going to be easy? No. It won't be easy to find a job here in Portugal, because the job market is very tight. It is really tight, and depending on what sector you're in, it may be tougher. So one thing I know for sure is that in the healthcare, for medical doctors specifically, getting a job here is not the hardest. They want doctors. I know whenever people say they want doctors, it's like, oh, you just arrive and people are like, come, doctors, oh, just come. Just come one, come all, like we have jobs literally waiting for you. No, but it's much easier to find a job as a medical practitioner, specifically medical doctors. I'm in the medical field myself, and I am a medical doctor by qualification. So this is something that I do, like my major interest is in that. I have done my research, and one thing for sure is that getting a job here as a medical doctor is much easier. I also have people who are, who have told me about these things. Getting a job here as a medical doctor, if you know Portuguese, okay? So that is the thing. The catch is you need to know Portuguese, and I think you need to know Portuguese to, I think, B2 or C1. All right, so you need to be fluent in Portuguese, because at the end of the day, for you to work in many countries that you didn't graduate in, you need to write a licensing exam, and for you to get that licensing exam, you need to do what? You need to write exams. In which language? In the language of the locals. So basically, this is something that you have to know. If you're in the medical profession, I believe it will not be that hard for you to get a job. However, you still need to know how to speak Portuguese, which is going to be hard because, I mean, if you don't come from a Portuguese speaking country, you have to like spend at least a year or some, I don't know. It depends on how quick you are, but you need to know the language. All right. For non-medical professionals, getting a job here in Portugal is definitely not the easiest, but yeah, you will find something eventually, because I believe that no tunnel that doesn't have an end. All right, so some tunnels are short, others are long, you know, but there's always light at the end of the tunnel. You'll be able to find something. I would also encourage you to be open-minded. You're moving to a new country. There are definitely locals who have studied in the country. They know the system better than you do. There are people who are not locals, but they studied in the country. They know the system better than you do. There are people who are expats who have come to the country. So it's a very tight market. It's very competitive. So you need to be open-minded to try and do anything to survive, to get the work experience in the country whilst you're still searching for your dream job. All right, whilst you're still learning the languages, whilst you're still whilst you're still learning the language, whilst you're still upskilling and doing all the things to boost your CV and to just improve your chances at getting, you know, your dream job. So when I'm speaking about being open-minded, I'm pretty sure someone is like, now what are you talking about? What are you talking about? What should I get myself ready for? One of the things that's really, really common here is hospitality. A lot of people find their first jobs in hospitality, in hotels, restaurants, resorts, whatever. Hospitality is definitely something that is easier to get a job in, especially if you can't speak the language. Hear it from me, you guys. Getting a job here in Portugal is not the easiest. But then with all this that I say, that doesn't mean that it would be hard for you. Every single person's experience is always different, and best believe there's still people who find a job in less than a month of getting here. I have a colleague, when he came here, he was, you know, just testing the waters, just seeing, is this a place I would like to live in? Within a month, he got himself a job. Whereas there were so many people that had been searching for 6 months, 8 months, and, you know, every person's story is different, so don't use another person's life to judge your own or to make decisions. Just, you know, try your best, and yeah, you never know, you might be one of those people who literally just search once and get that job. All right, one other thing that a lot of people also do here in Portugal is giving their skills. You can braid hair, you know, handwork they call it, is very important. And businesses as well, a lot of people do start businesses because it's easier to start a business here in Portugal. So in the meantime, if you're unable to find employment, you can start up a business and start paying your taxes and, you know, just do something. All this information is something that you can find in so many places. What are the sites that you should use to search for jobs? LinkedIn. Yeah, LinkedIn is one of the places that you can easily find something. Indeed is also another place. Yeah, to be honest, these are the two places that have helped me. You can use Randstad as well. It's a private, it's an agency. You can use that. It's always easier to find a job through an agency because they will help you find the job, and you just basically have to answer to them. All right, yes. So with that being said, this comes to the end of my video, you guys, and I hope to see you in my next video.